God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance. Now, of course, here at Lovely Being You, it is so wonderful being you. But you, the individual who you know is going to be held accountable for your actions, have got to make sure that you are evaluating those actions, making sure that you're making the right choices. Now, we all make mistakes, and we can all ask to be forgiven for those mistakes. However, if we're constantly working against others, we are going to be held accountable. So let's look at this. You have an individual, or individuals, who have taken a name. Let's say it's my name, okay? And I have mail, and I have my mail and my information circulating through Montana, Virginia, New York, Florida, Georgia, Washington State. Oh, yes. Let's say that these things are happening. While you're circulating this information, and you're doing all these different things so that you can do your money laundering. And then you take the same money to have someone follow me, and take the same money that I'm supposed to have inherited, and you circulate with all this. You're taking all the money and you're circulating it and you're using it in all these different ways. How much money are you going to have to even spend it on your own? Oh, but if you decide you're going to take me out and start another insurance policy, do you think that all this stuff is not being observed? Okay? Just like your phones, you take, take my phone. You say, okay, I'm going to find out by the carrier. I'm going to have a friend who works at that carrier service. So I'm going to talk to them, and they tell you the information. So you get phantom phones. And everybody, you get one like, like the Oprah show used to be. Everybody gets a car, okay? You get a car, you get a car, you get a phone, you get a phone. All these things are being passed out. And then you decide you're going to have a meeting on Zoom or so, okay? Now, we already know who started that whole process of the Zoom calls. The one Mr. Dark Magic, okay? Yeah, that's what we're going to call him, okay? We're not going to say anyone's name at this point in time, because I think everyone knows who the individuals who are at hand, okay? Then you decide you're going to get a person who was once involved with me and say, okay, let's get this a fake marriage paper certificate, okay? And you say, okay, they had children too. Weren't together long enough to be having any children, but let's say that's the case, okay? And you get people to witness and speak against me on a stand, children, and everybody believes this one woman because the children are involved. But all the individuals who helped to orchestrate this whole thing, okay, it was one mastermind, or should I say 3 masterminds. The older woman, the older man, and then the younger man, okay? Now, all these people decide they want to come together, and then they got, let's say, 22 more people to join them, okay? Now, not even looking at the numbers, let's just look at the facts. All these individuals coming together to make one person look bad, Did you not believe when I said the first time that karma stops and it does not take names, it just goes ahead and just continues to carry on and recirculates in ways in which you had no idea it could? You see, when you are misbehaving, okay, when I was in Catholic school, you misbehaved and they took the ruler and they told you to hold your fist out and they hit your knuckles. See, the one thing about me is I learned the first time so that I didn't have to worry about them hitting my knuckles again, because I thought it was very painful. A lot of the individuals at hand, I won't say you because who really knows who the individuals are, right? So let's look at this. The individuals involved did not really think that anything was going to happen because they've been doing this for years. They've been hurting people, unearthing people for years, and they were able to get away with it. Just like you collaborated with a senior citizen home, and they have an individual who's getting their check, And then everyone decides, okay, when a person passes away, you act as though the person is still alive and still take that person's check, okay? Do you think that all these things that you are able to take care of are not being observed? You see, this is the world that we live in, where people are collaborating against other people because they feel those people are weak. Remember, because somebody was saying that I was slow and that I was special ed. Well, you know what? Special ed must be really recirculating in a faster pace at this point. You see, the thing is that everyone might be operating in a certain way, but left knows not what right is doing, right? Okay, I hope that you're picking up on these little gems that I'm dropping. Because here's the deal. We as individuals are living on this planet. We're supposed to be sharing and growing together. And while we're sharing and growing together, we are supposed to be elevating each other. You know, what happened to the families that said, I'm going to stick together and live under the same roof and work together? Everyone gains a paycheck to actually pay this house off. And then we can go and work at another house. Or do that in order to allow someone to start a business. Everybody works at that business together, collaboratively, lovingly, and in support of each other. Not getting jealous and knowing that another person should be taking on this position. So what we're going to do is we're going to work against that person. We're going to throw dirt on that person's name. We're going to tell all sorts of stories that really involve ourselves, but we're going to place it on someone else, a person who has done absolutely nothing to you, but you're going to throw that person under the bridge. You see, sometimes I don't speak out. I don't say anything because I say, you know what? God is working it out, and He's going to allow it to come to the surface. But at the same time, while God is doing His job, it is important that we see each individual as who they are, because again, we are growing here, and while we are growing, we are able to see each individual. Okay? Why is it that we hold people on such high regards, when they're wealthy, when they're rich? Because we don't have it? Be careful what you tell your children. When you say, we can't afford it, we can't have this because, I didn't get the money. Don't say that. You say, okay, you know what? Let's work at this goal, okay? I'm going to work at my job. I'm going to probably try to put more time in. But at the same time, you don't want to lose your family, I was in Flagstaff recently, and when I was in Flagstaff, there was a family there. In fact, there were a few families. I went to a Malaysian restaurant, and this food was so delicious. But when I was at this restaurant, I noticed that there were a lot of Mexican families there. You know what I can appreciate about these Mexican families? They took the necessary time to invest in their families. They thought it was important that even though they worked all week, that they take their family out to a dinner on a Sunday and enjoy each other's company. That's love, okay? And when you say love, when you love a person, because people love to say so loosely, I love you. But when they say I love you, are those actions following those words? Because that is really a question. People use love all the time. Yo, I love you, man. You my homeboy. And then something happens, and they're not even there to support the homeboy, okay? Something really sad happened a while ago, but I'm going to bring it to the surface. I had a girlfriend in college named Jody, okay? Now, I don't remember her last name, but her name is Jody, and she was so sweet. Her family had this club, swimming club, I think it was called. And, my family, I'd go, and sometimes my siblings would go, and I remember one time I took my brother's girlfriend with us, and she said that there was some racism going on there. And I didn't pay any attention to it because every time we had gone, we'd never had this experience, So later on, it came out in the news. Now, I don't even think I was in the country when it happened, but someone mentioned it to me later. When I went back there, I didn't even see anyone there, so I didn't know what had happened. I didn't have her number. I wasn't able to reach out and speak to anyone on the behalf. So I felt saddened because this one person who I actually met her at a party in college, we really weren't that close of friends so we didn't really get to know each other. Unfortunately, we really should have. I wish that we had gotten to know each other better, and I wish that I have been able to be there for she and her family when that happened, to actually speak on their behalf, because they were very loving, people when I went to visit, when I went to the swim club. But apparently God didn't have that happen in the way in which, it occurred. With, everything carried out differently. But this is how life is. Sometimes you think you have a plan, and you think that you can do certain things to other people and not realize that it's going to come back to you. Now, I really hope that that family, was able to recover from whatever it was that happened, because again, I never saw the whole thing and I don't really know everything that happened. I'm not even mentioning anyone's real names here, except for that one friend. How many Jodys are there in America? But the whole point that I'm trying to make here is that God has a message in every act. And everything that happens, there's a message. But if we're not able to observe the message, if we're not able to be gifted enough to be able to learn from those lessons and pick up those hidden gems, so to speak, how are we able to carry out these different lessons? How are we able to grow, right? So when you pray, maybe you should be asking for God to show you certain things so that you're able to learn these lessons. Because you don't want to continue to get left back. You don't want to continue to make the same mistakes and not learn something from them, I mean, we all have family members who we don't always agree with, certain things that they do. And we all have friends that we don't always agree with everything. But at the same time, respectfully, we can coexist and agree to disagree without hurting or harming another individual, Years ago, I had a very close friend. I thought, we would be friends to the end. Not realizing that, my sister was very envious of that friendship. And when my younger sister found that she felt that there would be a problem with the friendship, she decided to dismantle it with certain things that she did. I have to say, she's very strategic, But at the same time, if a friendship could be broken up that easily, was it truly a friendship? We have to also look at that as well. Each thing is a lesson. Now, I don't blame anyone at hand, because I'm just saying that we all played part in this game that was played. However, when we can learn from it, when we can grow from it, that makes it that much easier. My sister played her part, I played my part, and my best girlfriend played her part. The problem is that did we grow? Did we grow from the experience? I'm putting real life experiences on this platform, as well as some that I have to, come from a different space with. Sometimes you can make up a story, but some of the reality still exists in that story. And it exists so that everyone can grow. Now, of course, it seems as though I've jumped all around this platform on these stories. However, if one person can learn something from these stories, that would make it that much better, right? We have to free our minds. We have to grow. We have to learn. And while we're doing so, it is so lovely being you, having your own earthly experience. So please, enjoy your day, and thank you so much for joining us today.